Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. After about 42 days, there's been a thaw or a temporary truce when it comes down to the wrestlers versus centre standoff. What really has gone down is the wrestlers met the sports minister with 5 demands. The sports minister has said that he will look into it. One of the demands still is very clear, that Brij Bhushan Sharan, BJP MP, be arrested. Now, in the midst of this, what really has happened, viewers, is that the minor complainant, because there have been 7 of the wrestlers who have complained of sexual harassment against Brij Bhushan. The minor in question has now filed a new statement under section 164 of the IPC. Now, this statement, viewers, somewhere down the line, because it's not out in public view, the father has confirmed to India Today that this particular new statement doesn't have sexual assault as a charge. And this is a new statement, and the earlier statement was made because she was very angry, because there was bias against her, is what she felt, by the WFI, which now means that there is a new statement that does not have sexual offence or sexual harassment by the minor. Does POCSO still stand when it comes down to Brij Bhushan Sharan? What could be the legal implications of it? That's the big question. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take you through some of the contours of what could be the legal implications once the minor has retracted her statement in this case. 7 statements were given by 7 wrestlers of the Indian Wrestling Federation. One of them is a minor, and 2 FIRs were filed. Now, let's take you through what happens if the minor retracts her statement. Now, has the minor retracted her statement? Because it's not for public, because she is a minor. The minor has recorded, as per the father who's spoken to us, a second statement before the magistrate, which is under section 164. The second statement recorded under section 164 of the CRPC. Now, the minor may have withdrawn the sexual harassment charge. This is something that her father has confirmed to us, that the sexual assault charge has been negated. More so, as per the procedure, the statement in a sexual offence case is kept sealed, so nobody really knows exactly what the new statement is. The statement kept sealed till the victim is examined during trial. The trial is yet to begin. The Delhi police is yet to even file a charge sheet. Now, what does the second statement mean? The victim can give more than 1 statement before a magistrate, and she has given another statement. The court may consider validity and veracity of different statements that have been given. In this case, 2 statements given by the minor against Brij Bhushan Sharan. Now, in case of inconsistencies, the court can look into the tutoring angle as well, because there have been 2 very contradictory statements that have been given. Now, the minor retracting her statement, what next is the big question. It is up to the police to file a charge sheet or not. Well, the wrestlers have been promised that by the 15th of this month, the charge sheet will be filed. If they file charge sheet, the court can look at veracity. Depends if the Delhi police files charge sheet. The government has told the wrestlers it will be 15th June. The wrestlers has given a deadline of 15th June. Now, if she's given a false statement, the COPSA court can file a case against her, because it's also hurting the reputation of the person involved, who is a BJP MP in this case. I want to cut across right now to my colleague Anisha, who's done a deep dive, gone through past precedents, what it could mean legally. Up next, if the statement has been not retracted but changed, is what the father tells us. Of course, nobody, viewers. So you might be reading a lot of social media toolkit narrative trying to take apart the case of the minor and the wrestlers, seeming to suggest that nothing stands now, all the cases have fallen flat. Nothing like this, because number one, nobody is privy to the statement of this young girl, the minor in question. And having said that apart, still 6 women are standing by what their allegations are of sexual assault against Brij Bhushan Sharan. Anisha, will you break it down for us? You've done a deep dive. What could be the legal implications of maybe not retracting the statement, but definitely changing the statement this time, which negates sexual offences?
Well, Preeti, when you're looking at an issue like this, there are multiple aspects that one must consider. First of all, as you just said, we don't actually know what the minor has said in her statement. The contours of Section 164 CRPC as well as past precedents from the courts allow a victim to record multiple statements, even if there are certain changes in the statements, record the first, second, third statements. It is for the court then to look into whether there are actual inconsistencies or there are improvements or there are simply additional details being added by the subsequent statements. So that is something that the court will do. But prior to the case even going before the court is the question of what is the police doing here, and here the huge responsibility lies essentially on the police investigation. The police can choose to go by whatever the statement the minor has given. The police is also required to look at the other evidence. There are 6 other women who have spoken out about this. More importantly, there are coaches, other persons, there could be other evidence, especially of if this girl had ever given an oral or written complaint to someone else. As the most important point to remember at this stage for us and for the viewers is that everything in this matter has so far been kept in sealed cover. We don't know what she said, we don't know what other people have said, and effectively it is for the police to complete its investigation and then file a report to the court, whether they file a charge sheet or a closure report, or even if this girl has actually said something false, whether they want to initiate a complaint against her for false information. That all of that is currently up in the air. But of course, as a victim, it is perfectly within her rights to give a second or even a third statement.
Anisha, stay with me. I want to introduce right now on the show Asha Devi. She's the mother of Nirbhaya. I have Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. Amitabh Sinha, Advocate, Supreme Court. आशा देवी जी, बहुत शुक्रिया कि आप हमसे जुड़े. बहुत चीज़ें चल रही हैं आशा जी. 40 के ऊपर दिन हो गए. इस बार जो दूसरा राउंड ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट रहा है इन रेसलर्स का, उनमें से जो 7 लड़कियां हैं, एक माइनर है, पॉक्सो का केस लगा है, और अब लगता है कि जो माइनर लड़की है उसने अपना स्टेटमेंट बदल दिया है. पर इसको आप किस नज़रिए से देखती हैं आशा देवी जी? क्योंकि ये रेसलर्स हैं, जस्टिस की मांग हो रही है, एक तबका वो भी है जो कह रहा है ये पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड है. किस नज़रिए से देखती हैं?
देखिए, मैं तो यही कहना चाहूंगी कि ये हम बच्चियों के अधिकार की बात करते हैं, बच्चियों के उनको आगे बढ़ने की बात करते हैं, तो जिस तरह से ये बच्चियां प्रदर्शन कर रही है, धरने पे बैठी हैं, तो कोई अपना सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के अपनी इज्जत दांव पर लगा के प्रदर्शन पे तो ऐसे नहीं बैठेगा. तो मैं तो यही कहना चाहूंगी कि जांच होनी चाहिए और बच्चियों को इंसाफ जरूर मिलना चाहिए. और बच्ची डर से कैसे उसने अपना बयान वापस ले लिया, दबाव में ले लिया, तो इसकी भी जांच होनी चाहिए. और पॉलिटिक्स तो हर चीज में हो रही है, क्योंकि पॉलिटिक्स होने से ही बच्चियों के साथ जो क्राइम हो रहा है, और भी क्राइम हुए हैं, चाहे ये लोग भी बैठे हैं, मुद्दा भटक जाता है. तो मैं तो यही कहना चाहूंगी कि चाहे पॉलिटिक्स हो, चाहे जो कुछ भी हो, लेकिन जिस तरह से बच्चियां रोड पे बैठी हैं, जिस तरह से उनके साथ कई वीडियो हमने भी देखा है कैसे पुलिस का रवैया रहा है, तो ये बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है. बच्चियों के साथ ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. अगर आपने कुछ नहीं किया है, जो भी इसमें मुजरिम है या जो भी हैं, अगर वो कुछ नहीं किए हैं तो पूरी तरह से जांच होनी चाहिए. और जब तक जांच नहीं होती है, जब तक इस पे कोई कोर्ट का फैसला नहीं आता है, तब तक उनको अपने पद से इस्तीफा देना चाहिए.
आशा देवी जी, मैं आपके पास अभी वापस आऊंगी. आई वांट टू जस्ट ब्रिंग इन संजय हेगड़े इनटू दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन. संजय हेगड़े, would you simplify it for us? I want to ask you a question. Let's say instead of a closure report, let's just say that the Delhi police goes ahead and files the charge sheet. The sheer fact that the Delhi police did not think that it was apt to arrest the man in question, Brijbhushan Sharan, during investigation, can the court turn around and say, if you didn't feel the need to arrest him during investigation, why after the charge sheet?
No, that's not what the court will say. If there is a charge sheet, the court will proceed. The crucial question is, what is it that the charge sheet will reveal? Will the charge sheet reveal any offense under POCSO, or will it reveal only ordinary offenses under the IPC? It depends on whether the investigator finds the victim's first statement credible or the second statement credible, or they discards the victim's testimony altogether and says that you can't lend any credence and there is nothing else to corroborate that allegation. Therefore, we are dropping POCSO altogether. So, a charge sheet may very well be filed. The crucial question is, what are the sections that are alleged against the accused?
What if POCSO, the case for POCSO is not made in the charge sheet because of retraction of statement, sir?
Even if there is a retraction of the statement, as the trial goes on, assuming that there is a trial, then if there is evidence which comes on record, which then substantiates the need to frame the charge again or to alter the charge, the court has the power to do it. So let's assume that the victim has said one thing in statement A, said a second thing in statement B, and then in her evidence in court she says something else, which then attracts a POCSO charge. Even then the court can then alter the charge and proceed.
All right, stay with us. Amitabh Sinha, Advocate Supreme Court, is also with us. Mr. Sinha, you don't concur with the fact that with what Mr. Hegde said. You would think that by a retraction of statement, I would reckon, it would water down the case where the wrestlers are concerned, especially if the matter comes to a charge sheet in court?
My opinion about what my learned friend Mr. Sanjay Hegde has said, it's technically very correct. There is no doubt about that. What he said is absolutely right. But my point is, this is, the aspect that the merit of the case. See, the merit of the case becomes very important when the charges are to be considered. And charge sheet, as it's by its name itself, the charge sheet means the charges which were, imposed upon or on the accused. See, in this case, POSCO, as per my observation, what is happening today, POSCO is out of question. Number one, because in a very largely circulated national daily also, this report has been published, and I also have certain information that that girl is not a minor, as per the school records of Rohtak school, something. And a very reputed national daily also has published in a very clear manner. So, when this is the fact, then the POSCO is out of question, and because POSCO is out of question,
Mr. Sinha, where does, I would reckon if a minor who is complained has lodged a statement in front of a magistrate, I would reckon it would only be the girl and the magistrate who would be in the know of what that statement is. So how is it that you are in the know of that statement, sir?
May I complete first?
Please, sir.
Let me have some time to explain what exactly is my observation and my perception. See, as per the rule of law, what the most important thing is that the charges must be substantiated. Then only the charge sheet should be filed against any accused. If the charges cannot be substantiated, whether it is under 164 also, the police has to find whether the charges are appropriate or not. That is why the investigation, role of investigation is there, role of investigating officer is there. So, I think because of that investigation only, it has come to the fact in front of the investigating officer that the so-called the POSCO Act is not applicable because just a minute, because POSCO Act is directly related to a minor, and that girl is not a minor.
Who says that girl is not a minor, sir? How are you so sure that she's not a minor? Nobody knows. Who are on basis of what are you telling us?
Why you are shouting? I am telling you the fact. So
how is it a fact is my question to you, Mr. Sinha.
Don't shout. Don't shout, Preeti. Don't shout.
Sir, my question is very simple. On what facts are you basing? 1 second, hear my question, Mr. Sinha.
Wait, I have told you. You were not listening to me. What I told you?
No, I'm not understanding. On what? No, sir. I will ask you one straight question. On what basis, what facts are you quoting that you seem to suggest that the girl is not a minor?
Yes. I am telling you. What exactly has happened? Most of the thing is coming in media only. So through
Sir,
the
what
reports.
are you? These are facts. You're quoting. Most of this are coming in media. Therefore, you're quoting
If you will not, after your question, I have understood your question. So let me reply to your question first. Have patience. Have patience.
Sir, it's a 20 minutes show. Please make your point. What's the fact on the
Doesn't
basis
matter.
of
I have
which
already told you.
you have said she's not a minor?
You are compelling me to repeat my point. I have already told you that the largest circulating national daily has published in a very
Sir,
clear
I'm sorry.
manner.
Please, the sheer fact that you're an advocate in the Supreme Court and you're quoting random media reports to say it's a fact she's not a minor because it's not in public domain, she's not a minor. Neither the Delhi police, neither the IO, sir, neither the Delhi police, neither the IO, nobody has stated that the girl is not a minor.
You are also a random media channel. Why you are saying that girl is
We
a
are
minor?
saying we don't know. We are saying we don't know.
No.
What
Why you are
facts are
saying
you
that
quoting is
POSCO
very
Act is
difficult.
applicable?
One doesn't understand
Why
that.
you are saying that POSCO Act is applicable? No. You are also going through
So
the
we
media
are
reports
saying
only.
whether that is the basis of discussion. I'm sorry, I don't think you've understood the debate.
I am telling you, POSCO Act only is related to
Mr. Sanjay
minor
Hegde, you want to
girl.
make a point? Please come in.
Please, go ahead.
Well, Mr. Sinha's point seems to be that there is a document.
All right, we seem to have lost Sanjay Hegde. I want to connect right now. I have, let's cut across to Nirbhaya's mother, Asha Devi ji, who's still with us. Asha Devi ji, देखिए इसमें अब बात ऐसी भी आ रही है क्योंकि बोला जाता है कि मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स बोल रही हैं कि वो लड़की नाबालिग भी नहीं है, बालिग है, और एक नैरेटिव स्पिन भी करा जा रहा है आशा देवी जी। इसमें आपको लगता है कि जो दिल्ली पुलिस की टीम थी, अरेस्ट क्यों होता है कोई जब इन्वेस्टिगेशन होती है? एक इसीलिए अरेस्ट होता है क्योंकि वो इतनी पोजीशन ऑफ पावर में होता है कि वो केस को इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकता है। आपको लगता है इस मामले में अरेस्ट होना चाहिए था?
जी, अगर वो बच्ची जो चार्जशीट में वो बच्ची का वो जो चार्जशीट लगी है, अगर उसके साथ गलत हुआ है तो अरेस्ट होना चाहिए था। क्योंकि देखिए, दिल्ली पुलिस की बात कर रहे हैं तो पुलिस की जांच के वजह से पुलिस जांच शुरू में ठीक से नहीं करती है, इस वजह से कई मुजरिम छूट जाते हैं। दिल्ली में हम लोगों ने कई केस को देखा है। कोर्ट ने कहा है कि पुलिस ने जांच ठीक नहीं किया, इसलिए मुजरिमों को बेनिफिट मिल जाता है, वो छूट जाते हैं। अभी इसी साल में का सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पुलिस का हवाला देके छोड़ दिया, तो कई केसों में पुलिस का हवाला देके मुजरिम को फायदा हो जाता है। तो हम यही चाहेंगे कि वो उस केस में बच्ची क्यों बयान बदली अपना, चार्जशीट में अगर पॉक्सो लगा है तो बच्ची क्यों अपना केस वापस ली, क्यों अपना बयान बदली, इसकी जांच होनी चाहिए। क्योंकि पुलिस के लापरवाही से, पुलिस के ठीक से जांच ना करने की वजह से बच्ची को इंसाफ ना मिले, इसलिए जो भी इसमें मुजरिम है या जो भी कोई है उनको गिरफ्तार होना चाहिए और ठीक से जांच हो कि बच्ची को इंसाफ मिलना चाहिए। बच्ची किस वजह से बयान बदली है, इस पे जरूर जांच होना चाहिए।
आप हमारे साथ बने रहिए।
अनीशा,
जी, अनीशा, I want to bring you in because what are the facts? The fact that the girl is a minor, not a minor, nobody really knows that because the Delhi police hasn't said anything on that.
Well, that's exactly the point I wanted to make, Preeti, because at this stage, when the investigation is ongoing, first of all, we as a country and the viewers need to understand that what is a fact and what is a provable fact in court are very different things. Whether a girl is a minor, is not a minor, will have to depend on the documentation that the police brings before the court. Now, we at this stage do not know what are the documents that the police is looking at. We don't know what her birth certificate says, we don't know what her school leaving certificate says, and we certainly don't know what her class 10 certificate says. Ultimately, what the age of birth that is given in the class 10 certificate, that is taken as the first proof. If that is not there, then the school entrance, the register at the time somebody enters school, that is taken. At this stage, nobody knows what is in those papers. So whether or not a POCSO case will apply or not depends entirely on that document. And if I may just take 10 more seconds. If the document says that she is a minor, and in the first statement she has raised an allegation that brings in sexual offences, and then later she takes it back, then the police and the court will have to then look at it as a POCSO case. They will have to look at it from the perspective of a minor possibly being coerced, threatened or pressured, or something out of court has happened. And we've seen multiple cases where the courts have said that just because there was an out of court settlement does not mean that the other corroborative evidence is not there.
All right,
a lot depends on what actually is the paper that comes before the court.
And nobody quite knows that. So therefore, Mr. Sinha, I'm going to come back to you. First, let me bring in Mr. Sanjay Hegde. Who knows what the document says? Because the Delhi police hasn't made the document public. And it's a, whatever the investigation has been. Sanjay Hegde, you wanted to make a point? Go ahead, sir.
No, the point was about the document. We don't know what the document says. And we cannot just go by inspired leaks to various media houses and newspapers. If the document says that she was a minor and she sticks and in court to her statement that she was sexually abused, then notwithstanding anything else, a FOXO case will be made out.
But Mr. Hegde, the question that I want to ask you, because one thing is clear, something that her father has confirmed to us, that the sexual offences or assault, that fact, that statement has been changed and says there is no sexual assault in the new statement. What does the legal implication of that mean going ahead?
There would be the earlier statement, there would be whatever turns up in the investigation, and the fact that a trial happens does not mean that a man is guilty or not guilty. Everything would have to be taken into account. Both her 164 statements would be available both to the prosecution as well as the defense to contradict her, to contradict whatever she says in court. So, this entire case reminds me of a much earlier case. We had the Zahira Habibullah Sheikh case in the Best Bakery. The girl saw the event, she denied it in court. Thereafter, she came out with a statement that she had actually seen the event. The Supreme Court then transferred the trial, and then again the girl changed her mind in court. So ultimately, what is it that she will say in court? Everything turns on that.
And if she says she wasn't sexually assaulted, then, sir?
Then there is no case for POXO. He might get an acquittal. Right
in
now,
POXO,
what we are
POXO, but there are other 6 women who have... Right.
Yes. Those are other offences.
Those other 6 complainants, are those grave charges enough for the man in question to go to jail?
Yes, absolutely. Even if it is under 354, there is a possibility of a jail sentence.
Okay. Mr. Sinha, please do come back into the conversation, because the facts that you are quoting are not facts, sir, is all our humble submission was. Go ahead, sir.
See, when a person, an accused, the prosecution can figure out that whether the charges are reliable or not. Mr. Hegde is saying very correctly that if the charges are not maintainable, then the charge sheet will not be filed, or even if the charge sheet is filed, then it will not be maintainable in front of the court. Number one. So if the girl is a minor, then the court may take a different opinion, and then they say that no, that second 164 also is not reliable. So give another statement so that the atmosphere should be very fair, and then she should be asked, because that girl is a minor. Number one. Number two, about other 6 charges. See, the substantiation is the must thing. That's why Delhi police is taking so much time. Their charges must be corroborated, that their charges are true or not. So the role of investigation is that. And because this time has taken, I don't know what exactly the investigation report is leading towards. And if the charges are not maintainable, or they can't be corroborated, then the case either will be dropped, or it will be a very weak charge sheet which can immediately be quashed. So this is my firm legal opinion. Then when the case cannot be corroborated, the charges cannot be corroborated, then accused will certainly be given benefit of the doubt.
Okay. आशा देवी जी, आप जैसे भी ये पूरा केस चला है, क्योंकि इसमें तो हमारे जो पहलवान हैं वो भी जुड़े हुए हैं, मैसेज क्या जा रहा है आशा देवी जी?
देखिए, मैसेज बहुत गलत जा रहा है कि 40 दिन कम नहीं होते, बच्चियां दोबारा रोड पे बैठी हैं, दोबारा प्रदर्शन पे बैठी हैं, तो इसका मैसेज गलत जा रहा है कि जो बच्चियां देश विदेश से गोल्ड मेडल जीत के आई हैं, उनका अगर ये हाल है तो हमारे गांव में, हमारे शहरों में, हमारे नॉर्मल बच्चियों के साथ, महिलाओं के साथ जो क्राइम हो रहा है तो उनका क्या होगा? तो ये गलत संदेश जा रहा है। अभी मैं सुन रही थी कि माइनर नहीं है या माइनर है, तो कोर्ट का अभी फैसला नहीं आया है, तो उसका जांच होनी चाहिए कि वाकई में वो बालिग है या नाबालिग है, तब डिसीजन होना चाहिए कि नहीं पक्सो एक्ट,
वही जांच चल रही है,
तो जांच हो जानी चाहिए।
बिल्कुल,
क्योंकि जांच ठीक से ना हो, पुलिस ठीक से काम ना करे और बच्ची को एक इंसाफ ना मिले, तो ये हमारे कहीं ना कहीं हमारे कानून पे एक कलंक होता है कि बच्चियों को इंसाफ ना मिले तो गलत है।
जी, all right, let's end it at that. I'd like to end it at that. Appreciate you all for joining us. Thank you. Well, I'm glad we all agree on that. Appreciate you all for joining us. Thank you there. Up next is Rahul Kamal with News Track.
Elon Musk's Tesla has agreed to the Indian government's demand to set up a vendor base in India. Currently, more than half of Tesla's global production takes place in China. My colleague Chetan Bhutani joining us on the story. Chetan, does it mean Tesla is a step closer to shifting part of its business out of China and into India? And by when could we see this happen?
Well, that's right. Elon Musk's Tesla could soon make in India for the world, as top sources in the government have confirmed to Business Today TV that the company has in principle agreed to start manufacturing in India. In fact, no formal proposal has been signed as of now, but yes, by the way of mutual understanding, the company has given a green light to the government's, in fact, mutual persuasion that happened last month. Sources have also confirmed to Business Today TV that Tesla will set up a vendor place in India. But however, the government is of the opinion that the company should probably start manufacturing and, in fact, assembling electric cars in India, and then probably move on to set up a vendor base. In fact, last month, the officials of Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Department of Heavy Industries, the Prime Minister's office, they all met Tesla officials just to take a rain check at how India is serious about this electric vehicle revolution in India, and how the country in fact wants to go out. So in fact, my sources have also told me that the government in fact could sweeten the production linked incentive scheme 2.0 that would be coming up to ensure Tesla also gets some benefits. In fact, it has now in fact said that they are not anymore seeking demand for an import duty cut. But in fact, you should remember that owing to different geopolitical situations in China, the company has more than half of its production.
Chetan, will Tesla get concessions from the Indian government for setting up a base here?
The government is of the opinion that if Tesla does something and starts manufacturing, not out of the way, not a green carpet would be rolled out for Tesla, but yes, the government is looking at a production-linked incentive scheme specifically for electric vehicles and its components, because the FAME scheme is almost coming to an end, and various factors have contributed towards its ending. But yes, a PLI 2.0 is in the works, which probably could benefit Tesla.
Not the Maharaja, Indigo is still the undisputed king of Indian skies. And the airline, with the ubiquitous blue livery, is ensuring its holds onto its crown. Indigo is reportedly spooling its engines to launch a 500 aircraft order. It would make it the biggest order till date from India, larger than the 470 aircraft ordered by Air India earlier this year. is eyeing 500 single-aisle Airbus A320 family aircraft with a sticker price of more than $50 billion. The final price, according to analysts, could be nearly half if discounts for bulk deals are included. Indigo is also planning on buying 25 wide-body aircraft, for which Airbus and Boeing are still in contention with their A330 Neo and 787 models. Indigo is already one of the largest Airbus customers, operating 308 Airbus-made aircraft. Nearly 500 aircraft are still to be delivered. There are fears that the two huge aircraft orders by Indigo and Air India could skew the demand-supply dynamics in the Indian markets. Indian carriers now have the second largest order book for aircraft, behind only the United States. The past few months have seen air traffic rise to zoom past pre-COVID levels as travellers return with a vengeance. Indigo had a market share of nearly 58% in April, with Vistara and Air India at a distant second and third positions. Go First, which went under last month, also had a decent 6% market share. With the Wadia Group-owned Go First grounded, Indian skies are running short of aircraft, pushing up airfares into stratosphere. There could be some relief for flyers in the future with these additions to aircraft fleet, both on domestic and international routes. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, growing legacies.
Powered by NECC, Sunday hoya Monday, Rose Khao Monday.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. Indira Gandhi's assassins celebrated in Canada. Why?